Good afternoon, guys, and welcome to the podcast. Today, you're in for a special treat. If you can listen and learn from the Hurricane CTO, Charles Sims from Los Angeles. He's a tech evangelist, investor, and he's got over 15 years navigating the intricate landscapes of technology. And our discussion today is going to be all about the overarching macro picture of business entrepreneurship with Charles's insights, his stories, as well mixing a little bit of AI technology. And I'm really happy to have him on. Charles, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Chris. Excited to be here.
Yeah, you've had a really very interesting career and you've done some major work for organizations such as LA Clippers and a lot of fantastic work. So briefly introduce yourself and I'm excited to dive into the conversation.
As I said, my name is Charles Sims. I've been an operator in the technology space for about a little bit more than 15 years. Originally, did a lot of technology consulting across a litany of different industries with a consulting firm out here in Los Angeles, from working alongside the medical field, legal operations, manufacturing, and then had the opportunity one day to be able to sign up with the LA Clippers as their head of technology, grew out their entire enterprise IT stack, and then moved into innovation tech and was a part of the acquisition of the LA Forum, the design of the new Intuit Dome. And then one of my favorite experiences there was the pandemic playoffs, of building a virtual fan cast so that you could, as the fans were watching the game itself, they were being on the screens in the arena during the game. Then finally, I was at UTA for about 3 years, United Talent Agencies, one of the 3 largest talent agencies across the world, representing agents across TV, media, entertainment, music, and just about any talent that is top class. And in the last year, I moved into advisory within technology in the VC space. So I do a lot of buy-side advisory, working with investors, as well as sell-side advisory of working alongside the entrepreneurs to help them bring either their next stage to fruition, or partnering with capital to help them find the right narrative for where they're taking their business going further.
That's a great introduction and a great segue into so I'm really fascinated by your expertise, because we're talking about the intersection of sports and entertainment and technology. And I think COVID really laid the groundwork for kind of this virtual environment. And now it's set the stage for AI and blockchain and these sort of things in your industry. My question for you is, you talk about staying true to core principles while navigating disruption, especially in the really dynamic world of sports and entertainment and how you're using technology. So elaborate on that.
It's a great question. I think one of the things that I like to say is the leading through empathetic innovation. Technology is something that can be very difficult for most, and it's complicated. It has so many different facets, especially now as you add in a lot of the newer gen from AI, the deep tech, what these different things are doing. It's moving so quickly that even some of the most seasoned technologists are having a hard time keeping up. And so now think of that same level of, whether it's not fear or it's frustration with that technology, it's our job as technologists to continue to evangelize the power and do it in words and in conversations that are easy to understand, easy to digest. And so that empathetic, push the needle as far and as fast as you can, while also bringing those along that might not normally be as excited about a AI-based sales system or AI-enabled ERP to reduce fraud or to eliminate issues around payables and speeding up accounts payable or accounts receivable. So there's all of these interesting spaces within technology itself that you have to break down on the business side to help them see the value, but also break down in the communication side to get their buy-in. And so that's where that empathetic innovation comes from.
Yeah, I really love that. And it segues into what's really fascinating, is because I read this article recently talking about how the gaming industry and eSports and virtual gaming is poised to eclipse like live sports. My question for you is, how do you see this evolving area, especially with esports? And because you were with the LA Clippers and you implemented some of the most innovative tech advancements, what were those? How they impact team performance, and how do you keep live sports and just like traditional sports to be able to compete with this growing area of esports?
Again, I think the concept of esports and the concept of this sports industry, the professional sports industry as a whole, are two different yet similar spaces. Where one is a powerhouse when it comes to in-person events. Their in-person events are not going away. Even after COVID happened, you were seeing more stadiums being built, more entertainment districts being laid out across the country and across the world, because that's where communities are coming together. And so as you then pivot to esports, where esports has really struggled is in that in-person entertainment. They try to replicate a lot of what pro sports have done, and they'll do these big tournaments, but it doesn't have the same impact. It doesn't have the same success in person as regular pro sports has. And the flip, esports and creators have an immense amount of content. And in the world today, content really is king. And while the professional sports are slowly catching up to how they do interactive content, how do they blend the experience between virtual in home and being in the stadium as a single unified experience, whether no matter where you're consuming it, so that it feels a lot more like how the Twitch and the streamers have been able to do very well in their space. So in no way do I think esports is going to eclipse or take over pro sports. I think you're going to start seeing very similar patterns of how the fan is engaged, how the fan has an experience, but in sports itself, venue technology is absolutely exploding. The ability to go to, I was at the Clippers game last night at the brand new Intuit Dome. Go Clips, love you, Steve. And one of the big things that I just kept being in awe of is how seamless the experience can be from when you get out of your car all the way to the seat, with the right level of technology that blends into the background rather than just smacking you in the face. And so the more that we see venues adopt that practice, adopt that in the invisible experience or the invisible barriers, that is going to be a massive boon for the in-arena experience. And then layering on the ability to send that content online or to device, you're gonna see some really interesting use cases coming out.
Yeah, and like any industry, it's great to talk to the brightest minds, talking about how you're positioning yourself. And it's from what I'm gathering, it seems like it's community, it's the content and the technology, and blending it all together and rapidly innovating. Because today's consumer is very fickle; they can change on you on a dime. The other question I have for you is in this area of technology and blockchain, and I know because this area of non-fungible tokens, and I know it's taken a backseat burner to things like AI and crypto. And so, what are your thoughts? Did your organizations experiment with ticketing or merchandise with these new type of blockchain tokens, or how do you view this, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, when I was at the Clippers, it was when Hot Shot or Top Shot came out, and so that was the first true NFT within this space. And I think what we learned very quickly with NFTs were, while we wanted to call them the new baseball cards, the new memorabilia, there wasn't that physical attachment like there has been in the past. So it hasn't really taken off like you would think of specifically for sports in that side. And then even in entertainment, the original digital twins for actors or talent is a unique space because there's still not an open framework. There's not something that's interoperable across all of the different stacks. And so it's not necessarily at its maturity yet. But where I see AI and the Web3, like the cryptos, becoming very powerful is the concept around like signature and being able to verify content, being able to identify ownership and fingerprint everything that is being created by an actor that is genuinely theirs, or when it is multi-market transactions for, say, esports industry when they're trying to guarantee tickets aren't fraudulent, or they're going through other marketplaces without having to own the entire marketplace. And so there's still definitely a place, and it's growing again, as you can tell. I think AI is going to be the best empowerment tool for a lot of the crypto that we're still trying to figure out what were the actual use cases. There was still a lot of the speculation outside of the coins, and even the coins, there was so many to digest if you weren't in it every single day to know how it works. And so that's where AI is definitely the hockey stick to help enable Web3 again.
Yeah, and we're gonna talk a little for the audience. We're gonna talk about AI. Is AI going to be good for, because what you're describing, it's very interesting. I was thinking like you could apply this technology to digital screening, like when you're getting on an airplane or going through security. So my follow-up question is, because you worked at United Talent Agency, and there's been a lot of uproar recently. There was the Hollywood strike that was related to AI. And do you see AI as a threat to the entertainment industry? Because I was reading, some people think that AI is going to get so good that it's going to become a category of its own. You're going to have AI superstars and AI celebrities and AI creativity, and kind of it could eclipse or overshadow human or the talent industry. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I definitely lean very much towards AIs are tools of empowerment for creators. And even at my time with United Talent Agency and my speaking engagements today, the number one thing I say is AI and its tools. That's what they are. They're tools. They are not going to be able to completely replace the creative, but what you can see them as are tools to take away the invisible barriers that we've seen for so many years of how much it costs to produce and create what your vision is, how much it takes to really get something in the hands of the right person, or to market it in a way that all the bite-sized social media marketing and the viral marketing and like a lot of those pieces that you just want to be able to tell your story. You can do that utilizing AI to help out with other pieces that you're not necessarily in love with, or that's not what you want to do. But it's never going to replace the creativity. And the old adage is similar in a similar fashion, but for lawyers, was the AI is not going to replace lawyers, but lawyers who use AI will replace lawyers who don't. And I think in the creative industry, you'll see a very similar vein of some of the best creators I see today that are using AI love it because it is able to help them take what is in their brain and quickly be able to get it onto whatever medium that they're working on without so much of the overhead that it's taken in the past. So I think I personally believe that it is a tool for good when used well. The ethics need to always be considered. I think the biggest concern I always had was the initial concept of giving your full rights to your body scan and not knowing where it goes after that, versus owning that yourself and being able to release that however you decide like your identity would be. And that I would definitely lean more on that way.
Yeah, those are very insightful comments. Because when I use ChatGPT, it can get me from level 0 to about 70% in very short span of time, where it would take me hours to get to the 70%. It can do that in seconds or minutes. And then the remaining 30%, I have to use my brain to get to that next level. What are your thoughts about Gen AI, autonomous AI bots and AI agents? Because there was on Twitter, someone just was random experiment where they spun up an autonomous AI agent and was able to spin up a community of hundreds of thousands of followers. And I was listening to this podcast, they were saying eventually these are like going to be, it's if you have a website or if you have a social media account, it's going to be like the equivalent value. I'm not sure if you have any thoughts on that.
You brought up a couple of topics there. So we can break them down into the concept of what AI was about a year ago, which was single transformer AI. And that means when I'm talking to ChatGPT, it will take whatever I'm saying, try to have the logical reasoning to understand what I'm meaning by what I say, go and fetch the knowledge from its large language model, and then respond back. Then you have the multi-agent. So that is I am talking to an agent per se of a chat bot that then goes and says, "Hey, I want to create a travel plan for this guy who is going to spend 4 days in Tokyo," and it has a airline negotiator agent, and it has a calendaring agent, and it has a travel zoo agent that all go find what they're specifically best at and brings it back to that single agent, and then responds back. That's also now known as agentic AI. So you'll have like Crew AI. You'll hear a lot of AutoGen is from Microsoft. Llama Index and LangChain theoretically were the original of that agentic, because they were very much chaining things together, and historically it was more logically chaining them. So do this, then this, then this, then this with multiple different agents. Where now you have the concept of in agentic AI, it is a reasoning of who should do what agents it should use, what tools it should use. Then, I believe the next piece that you were mentioning was sorry, remind me the second part of the question.
So it's basically this area where AI becomes autonomous and free thinking, or able to make its own decisions. And what are your thoughts on that? Because we evolved from people using AI to people creating AIs that can create their own things. So that was
Yeah. Yeah, the concept of AGI, which is artificial general intelligence, has been the buzzword since ChatGPT came out, and that is the concept of it. The AI is now its own being almost. It does everything. It thinks for itself. It makes itself. It does whatever it wants. But then when you're saying somebody had built some sort of AI platform that then got 100,000 followers, that's a lot closer to either the multi-transformer or the multi-agent / agentic AI per se.
interesting. I know we have a few minutes remaining, and like I said, this sports, entertainment, music, media, these all really great for AI use cases and crypto, blockchain. Round it out and talk about on which side of the fence do you sit with AI? Are we headed for utopia, dystopia? Is the future going to be bleak? Are we gonna we're gonna basically get annihilated? And how can people find you and reach out to you and learn more about you?
I much believe that we are in the world of most humans are good people, and most good people do the right thing. And so I see AI continuing to be something that there might be bumps and bruises here and there, but it will be moving towards utopia. It will be moving towards the universal basic rights and the ability to remove barriers and distribute communication and democratize power across the world. I also think that there's going to be a point at which we see that there will be entities that are trying to restrict and really lock down AI so that they can utilize it and take advantage of it. But the beauty of the last 2 years that we've seen in AI is the open source community has absolutely blown up, and the ability to have extraordinarily powerful tools and build powerful functionality without having to only use a closed source like an OpenAI, or only use a closed source like the Salesforce Science or anything like that. I think that has also given me hope that we will be able to be closer to utopia, because the more that everything is available and there isn't a moat, there isn't a barrier, there isn't somewhere to prevent the common person to create something amazing, the more likely we are in utopia. And then just to finish up, for anybody who's interested, I always like to say, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email, Charles@Hurricane CTO. You can find us on all the social medias, Hurricane CTO. That's where you can find me.
Awesome. I really enjoyed this conversation, and keep up the great work.
Thanks so much, Chris. I appreciate it.